What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be going through a few things that I've learned so far in my journey and into looking into different careers after medicine, and just what I've learned so far, what I still need to learn. If any of you are considering doing the same thing or just like thinking about looking into alternative pathways outside of medicine, hopefully this video can help you. I made a previous video before where I went into the first option, which was investment banking. I'll link that video here. You could probably find a card. I will still need to go into depth into banking and how to get into it and what I've learned so far. I've scheduled a few calls with a few people that I've been able to connect with on LinkedIn who are currently doctors or have a previous science-based degree, and they're now working in banking. So that video will be coming in the near future, but in this video this will just be breaking down medical affairs, which is a route that you can go through with a PhD in some sort of science background, a medical degree, or a pharm PhD or a pharm DA. I'm not too sure. I believe that's some sort of pharmacy degree, and you can get into this role and then level up from there, and then I'll just go into that now. Now is the main careers I'm looking into is investment banking, being an equity research analyst, and also going into medical affairs. Now, why I've chosen these three subjects is basically just due to the fact that for me, first of all, I'm not going to lie to you, the pay is definitely a very important factor, but there's also a lot of things that I've been looking into as well outside of just looking at the pay. And now one of them that has really kind of jumped into the forefront is medical affairs. And now for me, one of the main reasons that I'm looking into this is because you do need at least, I believe it's 4 years or so of NHS experience. So doing this pathway, I'd be able to work inside the NHS as a junior doctor and maybe start S1 and S2 training of like ophthalmology. That is the specialty that I'd like to start if I was to stay in medicine, at least in the UK. And then with that, I could then use that to go into pharmacy. I've looked into it as well, and pharmaceutical medicine, there is a 4-year course that you can do as well, and you can get a CCT, which is a completion of training, and it's what you get for doing any other specialty training program. So I could basically become a consultant in pharmaceutical medicine, and this is something that really appeals to me, because I was wondering, like, if I was to ever like leave medicine and then go into a different career, it would be sad to not be able to become a consultant in a specialty. But at least doing it this way, if I was to go into med affairs, apart from going into banking or consulting or other like more finance or law type careers, with med affairs, it's still somewhat healthcare based. Of course, there's not as much patient contact, but at least doing it that way, I would still be able to become a consultant. I'll still be able to complete training in some sorts of a medical specialty. Now, of course, the role will be very different to more clinical patient-facing roles in the NHS, but I do think that is a very big pro for me. And for any of you, if you're thinking of still getting CCT in some sort of specialty. Now, going on to this, so why else was med affairs now jumped up? For me, it's just a lifestyle. The BMA have published an article, maybe I'll link that down below, and I was also sent to it by someone on LinkedIn as well. I'll try to find your name, but thank you if it was you that sent it to me. I've just been reaching out to loads of people working in different industries that have a medical degree. Basically with this, with med affairs, it's pretty much a 9-to-5 job. And now, coming from the NHS, seeing how most people, they're working 12-hour shifts, they're working anywhere from 40 to 60-hour shifts, sometimes more. It's very unheard of to have a 9-to-5 shift, and that is something that I thought would never really be possible, especially during my training years. But seeing as a 9-to-5 job, you'd be able to make quite a good salary. Like from what I've been seeing, at least, it's anywhere from starting from 50 to 60k, going upwards of 80k. The doctor I spoke to, he's currently in med affairs now, and he's on around 80k, and he's managed to also negotiate his way into working fully remote. And that's another point as well, the ability to have work from home days. Now, where in the NHS, what specialty during your training especially can you have work from home days scheduled in at least 3 to 5 times a week? This isn't something that I think you'll find in any specialty. Now, maybe there could be some like radiology or ophthalmology, maybe even like later on in your career, or like later on in your training when you become closer to becoming a consultant. But working from home is something that I've realized, especially since COVID, it would be cool to have. It's not something that I feel like I need to have. I do like being in the hospital and the ward and seeing patients and stuff like that. Being able to do your same job at home and still get paid is just something that would be quite cool as well. So that's definitely something that is on the top of my list for choose medical affairs. As well as that is just the pay, the fact that your pay, it's not the NHS, it's big pharma companies, so of course they do have the funds for it. Your pay would go up every single year, at least most years. You'd be quite comfortable. They'll give you money for a car or a car allowance, so it's just crazy. I mean, in some cases they'll just give you a company car. Now of course you'd have to give it back if you were to leave the company, but still, the fact that they could give you something like that. As well as that, you could get like private medical insurance, you could get your own parking space. What else was there? There's bonus scheme. I saw on the BMA article there's like stock options as well. I'm not sure if the stock options is the bonus or if it's separate from the bonus schemes, but I do know that that's an option as well. And just the fact that really and truly the sky is the limit in terms of your career progression. Now of course there is a cap in terms of your salary working in the NHS as a consultant. You could just go right now on the NHS band scheme and just see how your salary would be after 10 years, 15 years, 19 years or so. And of course you can supplement your salary by working weekends or working less than part-time, then doing more private shifts to make some more money on top of it after you become a consultant and after you've built up your reputation. But the fact that in pharma or in just corporate in general, there's no real cap, depending on how hard you're willing to work and how much more training you're willing to do, you know, in terms of like getting more training in management or doing an MBA or something, and that could drastically increase your salary. There's that option as well in pharma. So realistically, it's not impossible for me to go into that career and then become like a head medical director or to become a CEO of a company. Like it's not too far-fetched, and I believe for me being quite competitive, and I do believe that everyone in medicine to some extent is a competitive person. I do think having the chance or having the opportunity to have no ceiling on your job is something that would appeal to like most medics, you know, because you know, working every day knowing that like there's that, depending on how hard you work, there's really no limit to how far you're able to progress. That is definitely something that's big for me, because I do believe I would like to be able to level up and to see how high I can progress in these companies or in different companies. And with that, there's even an increased pay packages, you know, increased bonuses, etc. So that is definitely a major deal for me. Another one is just the fact that you can also work abroad in some contexts. You know, some big pharma companies, they may need you to represent the company in different countries. So there's that option as well, that your job could involve traveling. So again, that is something that's quite difficult to do in the NHS unless you were to do an F3 year or take a break from training and go to Australia and work as a doctor there, for example. But the fact that you could be working here and they could pay for you to travel somewhere else to do your role, or to meet with a different company, or to liaise with someone there and then fly back, and you know that it's all paid for. It's something cool. It's something I believe would really break up your work. It's something that I feel would make a lot more people interested to work. So this is a whole world that I just haven't looked into properly, and I'm still doing more research. I've scheduled a lot more calls with people over LinkedIn in order to just find out more about this career and just other careers as well. Medical affairs is definitely up there for me right now. The only thing that I don't know, which is probably the most important thing, is what the job actually entails. Again, I've read briefly what the job would look like on the BMA website, but again, I still need to work there myself and experience it myself. So I'm looking to do some sort of internship or some sort of scheme just where I can see a day in the life or a week in the life of a doctor working in med affairs, and just see if it would appeal to me long term, because at the end of the day I do want to be able to come into work and still find what I'm doing interesting to some extent. But yeah, so I do need to do some more research into those other roles as well to see if that is something that I still want to do. Now of course the big negatives of going into roles like investment banking or consulting is just like the long work hours, and of course that is something that although I do say that working in the NHS would involve long work hours, banking just seems like a totally different beast. You know, 80 to 100-hour weeks. I spoke with a banker on LinkedIn, and she said, you know, there was people that was entering this industry, and after 2 years, even though they've had no previous heart conditions, they were passing out and they were having heart problems while working this job. And of course, that's understandable, working so many hours and not being able to sleep properly, being able to realistically have to work any hour of the week, you know, Monday through Sunday. It's something that I do need to consider. And you know, with me, I'm someone that does like to spend time to work out in the gym. I go like 5-6 times a week, if not the gym, just like running. I like to hang out with friends and family and just like do stuff outside of work and study. So not being able to do that and having like 90% of your life really revolving around work, it is something that I would need to look into to see if it's actually something that I can keep up with long term, and if it's something that after a while, if I would regret. Again, this would maybe be in a separate video once I've gained more knowledge and I've had these video calls to see, you know, just more examples and just more thoughts from people working inside the industry as to what they think of working in banking, coming from a medical or a healthcare based background. So again, hopefully those videos will be coming in the future, but if that's something that appeals to you, then please let me know down below and I'll try and make that video come soon. But yeah, that's it for now. This is all I know. I don't want these videos to be too long, but I believe I've broke down everything I've heard so far. Again, if you're new here, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Charles Onzurike. Follow me on Instagram at JustCharles100, and I try to post daily on JustCharles100. So again, feel free to follow me there. If you want tips on diet, fitness, memes, then you know, that's something that I feel that you would enjoy. And please leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see me make, and if you want to see more vlogs as well, if I have anything coming up. It's going to be quite busy these next few weeks. I'm currently on my cardiology placement, but if that's something that you'd like to see me make, then please let me know down below. And that's it for this video. Leave a like and have a good day.